I'm not a lawyer, but we got a new trial. So this is 21-year-old Alicia Andrews, and she could be sentenced to life in prison without parole if a Florida jury believes that she participated in taking the life of this 26-year-old man named Charles Jones. The trial has just started, so let me give you a recap of day one of Florida versus Alicia Andrews. So as I said, this is 21-year-old Alicia Andrews, and Florida prosecutors say that she, her boyfriend at the time, Isaiah Chance, and 3 other men traveled from Jacksonville, Florida to Tampa, Florida with the goal of killing 26-year-old Charles Jones, aka Julio Foolio. And the motive, according to prosecutors, was a gang war that has been going on for years.
The evidence will show that these gangs have been at war for several years. And when I say war, the evidence will show you this is a war going on in the streets of Jacksonville. Charles Jones belonged to and was affiliated with a group known as 6 Block. He was a member of that organization. 2 other gangs in Jacksonville, ATK and 1200, were affiliated gangs. They despise 6 Block. And the level of hate between these groups is a mutual hatred.
According to prosecutors, Julio Foolio was not only a member of the gang 6 Block, but he was also the face of it, and he used his music and social media platform to disrespect ATK, and they say ATK did the same thing back to him in 6 Block.
He produced music videos where he would travel to the gravesides of these individuals, or a graveside that was used in lieu of their graveside, and do things during the video like lay on their graves and sing around their graves and use sarcastic lyrics, pour champagne on their graves, rubbing it in the faces of ATK and 1200. And ATK and 1200 were no better. They did the same thing. You're going to see videos from members of that gang. One young man in particular, Kenyatta Bullard, known on the streets as Young and Ace. In the days after the murder of Charles Jones, he produced a song just within almost 48 hours and put it up, talking about the murder of Charles Jones, the specific facts of it.
So that's the backstory and what prosecutors say was the motive behind the death of Julio Foolio. So his death occurred in June of 2024. At the time, the war was still actively going on, and Julio Foolio was preparing to celebrate his 26th birthday. He posted some flyers on his Instagram account of where and how he was planning to celebrate his birthday.
My official birthday party, June 22nd at Club Teasers, and gives the address. So he is making it very well known when he puts this promotion out where he's going to be, what address he's going to be at, and when he's going to be there.
According to the prosecutor, members of ATK, particularly some of the people on this picture, took note of Julio's post and then put together a plan to take his life. Prosecutors allege that the plan included Alicia Andrews looking for a place for the group to stay in Tampa, Florida.
She sends that this message on June 21st. Hey, could I book a B&B in Tampa? This is 2 days before the murder. Kiera asks Marie, hey, what's dates you need? Tomorrow, but what day do you have available? How many bedrooms? Like 2. A few moments later, a screenshot of an Airbnb message is documented. The message is addressed to Rashad Murphy, confirms his reservation at Lagoon Oasis 9703 Gazebo Pond in Tampa, June 22nd to June 24.
One of the other members of the group, whose name is Rashad Murphy, ended up actually booking the Airbnb, but prosecutors say that Alicia is the person who initially did the reach out. And then from there, the men in the group began packing up the cars.
Now we go to the 22nd. This is the residence of Sean Gaithright, one of the conspirators. That is Mr. Gaithright walking out with a large duffel bag, and Isaiah Chance walking out with bags. And you'll see they start loading that black car, which is a Chevy Impala. That is the car transporting the assault team. And they load the bags into the trunk, and you see him bringing out another large bag. You'll see in the evidence that Mr. Chance ends up leaving in that Beamer. He drives and picks up his girlfriend, this defendant, Alicia Andrews, and brings her back to this residence. And then the 3 of them, Miss Andrews, Mr. Chance and Mr. Gathright get into that Impala, and they drive here to Tampa, and they drive to the Airbnb, and there will be zero doubt about all of that.
So prosecutors say that she, Chance, and Sean Gathright travel together in one car while the other members of the group get to Tampa in another car, specifically a gray Chevy Cruze, which prosecutors say was used as the surveillance video once they got to Tampa. Now, when the group arrives to Tampa, only Alicia is seen checking into the Airbnb.
This is the Airbnb that they stayed at on the night of the 22nd going into the morning of the 23rd. They didn't stay at a hotel that has a lobby with security cameras. They stayed at an Airbnb with one single Ring camera. That's the defendant when they arrive. And that day, she's the only one seen going through that door. The other ones, the evidence will show, this is back the back side of that same building, and down the back, and there's the back door. Must have entered, the evidence will show, through that entrance.
After everyone arrives and gets settled, prosecutors allege that some members of the group, including Alicia, ride to McDonald's and place a large food order for everyone in the group to get food. And then their night of hunting and stalking Charles Jones begins, allegedly. Now, just to be clear, prosecutors are not alleging that Alicia was actually the person pulling the trigger. They have charged her as a principal, meaning she helped the crime be committed and can therefore be charged as if she committed the crime herself.
The law of principles, if a defendant helps another person to commit or attempt to commit a crime, that defendant is a principal and must be treated as if they had done all the things that the other person or persons did, if we prove this beyond a reasonable doubt, that they first intended that the crime occur and did some act or said something, anything, that was intended to and that did incite, cause them to, simply encourage them to, assist them or advise other persons to actually commit that crime.
Prosecutors are specifically alleging that not only did Alicia help with the surveillance of Julio Foolio, but they say she also acted as a cover with her boyfriend. According to them, Alicia and Isaiah Chance would arrive at a location that Julio Foolio was at, and then they both would get out of the car and walk around, which allowed them to kind of blend in with everyone else who was around, versus if Isaiah Chance was walking around by himself, which could have been seen as more suspicious.
She acted as camouflage. She acted as a disguise in and of herself. Now they're a couple. Now it's not just a single person who may be seen as threatening or may draw attention. This is just a couple walking around in the parking lot in a club where a lot of people are milling about in groups. And then, as I just mentioned a minute ago, it's her phone they're utilizing, you will find in the evidence. You see the defendant opening the phone for Mr. Chance, and you can see their COVID masks. One is wearing the blue COVID mask that was so prevalent in 2020, 2021, and she's wearing a black one. This is Mr. Jones and his friends arriving at that club, 2:22 in the morning. That, again, is several minutes off, but it's about that time. He's now leaving. It's 2:46 or about that time. And what happens at 2:47? This car up here in the upper right, that's on that road, which is Nebraska, is pulling in to the north end of the parking lot of Teasers. He's walking out of the club on the other side of the club, and out of the blue, the assault team vehicle is pulling into the club. This is Mr. Jones' Charger. You can see the lights starting to light up because they're already inside the car. They're getting ready to leave. That's the Impala that has come in on the north side, gone down the west side, and is now passing in the front. Now, from there, when Mr. Jones leaves with his friends in the three cars, they travel to another club, an after party. So they go up to the second floor of this strip mall where this club is. And you'll see Mr. Jones will start live streaming with his phone. Again, advertising his location. And now, in the top of the screen, the hooded individual, the defendant, and Mr. Chance conducting more surveillance. Walking as a couple, so they're not threatening, they don't stand out. And now they walk back again past the club. Mr. Jones and his friends leaving.
And then Charles Jones and his crew make it to their final destination of the night, which was a Home to Suites hotel. And after he and his crew arrive, Alicia Andrews and Isaiah Chance arrive shortly after in the gray Chevy Cruze, as well as the other men that they were with in a black Impala. Julio Foolio tried to check into the hotel, but since they had arrived so late, there were no rooms left. So Julio walks out of the hotel and then chaos.
This is Mr. Jones arriving. Mr. Jones in the red stocking cap pulling up his shorts. He walks in the hotel. He had attempted to make a reservation here, but because they appeared so late, it had been given away. You'll see him come back and get into his car. That car entering right there, that's the assault team. This car driving by, that is the spotter car. That is the surveillance and reconnaissance vehicle. It goes down, does a three-point U-turn, and comes back. And now we're mere seconds away from the attack on the Charger, on the attack on Mr. Jones. Down to the lower left, you saw the shooter with the automatic Glock. And you'll see it come to fruition here, directly into a vortex of high-powered rifle fire. That's the Charger at the impound lot at the Tampa Police Department. You can see the impacts. Every one of those yellow stickers on the hood, the side, and the windshield are all impacts.
Charles Jones, aka Julio Foolio, ended up losing his life, and 3 other people that were with him celebrating also got wounded from the gunfire. The day after the incident, prosecutors say that Alicia and the 4 men that she was with leave the Airbnb and head back to Jacksonville. Alicia, Isaiah Chance, and 1 other member of the group specifically take an Uber back.
The defendant and her boyfriend, Mr. Chance, and Mr. Rashad Murphy traveled with them in that Uber. There's the Uber receipt, $187, 3 hours, 25 minutes, 208 miles. The Uber driver in this case will testify to you that he picked up 3 people at an Airbnb in Tampa and dropped them off at Sean Gaithrigh's house in Jacksonville.
Now, 2 days after the incident, Rashad Murphy is the first person to get picked up, and they find him in Georgia. Then a few days after that, Sean Gaithright is picked up in Florida after he's pulled over for a traffic violation.
They get him out of the car, and they end up searching that 4Runner. And inside of the 4Runner, they find several items: Glock magazines, a Glock extended magazine, components for AR-15 rifles, including a brace.
About a month after that, Alicia Andrews and Isaiah Chance get arrested at Isaiah's house.
Now, July 27th, that individual sitting in the rain, kneeling there at gunpoint, is Isaiah Chance. Officers arrived at that residence, his residence, and placed him under arrest for the murder in this case. And there is the defendant being brought out of the same house where she was with Mr. Chance. Now, why am I showing you this photograph of the defendant? Isaiah Chance's street name, gang name, and social media name is Gutta, or Gutta Man, G-U-D-D-A. Tattooed on her body, underneath her clothes, is the name Gutta. Not only on her chest, but on her neck.
So that's the prosecution's case. But Alicia has pled not guilty to all of this. And not because she denies being there. Her defense actually seems to be that, yes, she was there, but she had no idea what any of these men were planning, and therefore she did not and could not intentionally contribute to this crime.
No evidence whatsoever that Alicia Andrews wanted Charles Jones dead. No evidence whatsoever that Alicia Andrews did anything to help that group of men kill Charles Jones. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you're not just here to deliver a verdict. You are here to right a wrong. And so are we.
From there, her attorney lists a number of reasons he says Alicia is not as connected to this case as the prosecutors are making it seem. And he starts with telling jurors that Alicia went on that trip because she thought it was a weekend getaway for her and her boyfriend.
On the weekend, Charles Jones was killed. Alicia Andrews was on a weekend trip with her boyfriend, with only one agenda: to be with her boyfriend. 2, Alicia Andrews is not in a gang. 3, With the exception of her boyfriend, Alicia Andrews did not know any of those men in that group, and none of those men in that group knew Alicia Andrews. 4, Alicia Andrews is not a part of the drill rap culture, nor the drill rap scene. 5, Alicia Andrews did not have any physical evidence on any weapon displayed by the state. You would not find DNA, fingerprints, no physical evidence whatsoever linking Alicia Andrews to this case. 6, Alicia Andrews did not have a motive.
Her attorney also hints that the relationship between Isaiah Chance and Alicia Andrews was a violent one, or at the very least, a threatening one.
Alicia Andrews learns that not only is Isaiah Chance more than not nice, sometimes he could be threatening, controlling. Sometimes she'd have to suffer serious consequences if she upset him. She learned that in the most serious ways.
Okay, so that's just some of what Alicia's attorney laid out in the opening statements. Basically, she thought she was going on a trip with her boyfriend, and she had no idea that her boyfriend was involved in or planning to take Julio Foolio's life. And while you might be skeptical of that defense, some of the first witnesses of this trial had similar things to say.
If I were to ask you whether you're a part of 6 Block, would you say yes or no?
No.
Are you a part of ATK?
No.
Do you know what ATK is? Do 6 Block and ATK get along?
I don't know. I'm a girl.
When you say you're a girl, what do you mean by that?
I don't get into all of that.
Okay.
Come back for part 2 so I can fill you in on what the rest of the witnesses had to say.